Here I am in my garage.
What?
Timothy, where are we? We're in our garage?
Truck.
Yeah, you got your truck? Garage is a mess. Doing a little DIY. I want to talk to you a little bit about employees. I run a service business. Like a lot of service businesses, employees are tough. Employees are usually the problem. Every business, they say, has one of two problems: employees or customers. Customer problem means you don't have enough customers. You don't have enough sales. You don't have enough money coming in the door. Number two is the employees. You have too many customers, can't deliver. Can't quite deliver. I'm gonna assume right now that you have an employee problem. You gotta do three things to really make it possible to hire awesome employees, scale your business, and make some money in the services. You can't go around doing all the work yourself. You have to find and hire employees. So I'm gonna talk about the three things. Number one, you gotta charge more money. Okay, that sounds silly, right? I'm gonna lose customers. So many business owners, they get emotionally attached to getting every customer. They think they have to get every single customer. What happens is they're charging too little, they got too much work, they're booked out 2 or 3 weeks, they're too busy to answer the phone, they're too busy to get quotes out quick, they're too busy to turn around quality work fast. Okay, and when you're not charging enough money, you don't have enough money to pay quality employees. So your competitor down the street is paying 12 bucks an hour, 15 bucks an hour for labor. I want you to pay 18 bucks an hour. Okay, everybody always says, employees are the number one hardest thing about business. I can't find anybody worth hiring. I can't find anybody that wants to work. You're not doing these three things. I'm gonna tell you, three things. Number one, you gotta charge more money so you can pay your employees more money. And you say, customers aren't willing to pay more. It's a commodity, right? Getting your grass cut, it's a commodity. I have an example for you right now. So I'm remodeling my basement right now. Just moved into this house, modest house. Dodge Grand Caravan, by the way. Proud of that. Proud that I didn't get the Honda Odyssey for 35 grand. Got that one instead. Remodeled my basement. Had a couple plumbers come out to quote, okay? Actually, I called about 10 plumbers in Athens, Georgia, trying to get them to come out, give me a quote on doing about a day's worth of work in my basement. Called 10 of them, talked to about 5. 3 of them were too busy to even come out and quote. 2 people came out and gave me a quote. A week later, neither of them had reached back out to me. Finally, I get a call from one of them that says, I'm too busy. I'm not going to be able to even quote your basement. Not even a chance. The last one, finally, about a week later said, hey Nick, I'm so sorry, I got a little bit behind. I'll do your work for $4,200. Day's work, right? I was expecting to spend about 2 grand, but I had no choice. I ponied up, I paid the guy. Okay, everybody else was way too busy to even take my call. They're too busy to even come out and give me a quote. One of them came out and gave me a quote and then backtracked and said, Nick, you know what? I just can't fit you in the schedule. Crazy, right? If you can turn around quick work, if you're professional, if you're in a polo, if you're clean cut, if you know how to talk to somebody, if you know how to make them trust you, you can charge more money. Customers are willing to pay for that. And there's customers that aren't, and those aren't your customers. Don't get emotional about it. You don't need the customers that are gonna beat you up on price. You don't need the customers that are gonna fight you and go for the cheapest option. You want the customers that are gonna pay more for quality work. It's the only way to build a scalable service business. If you're competing on price, you're gonna lose. You gotta compete on quality, you gotta compete on speed, you gotta answer the phone every time with eager professionalism, you gotta turn around your quotes in 10 minutes. You get a work request on your website, have a quote out to that customer in 10 minutes, or have an appointment scheduled to come see their project in 10 minutes. All right, so that's number one, charge a higher price. How do you charge a higher price? You do those things I just said. You do better work, you have quality systems in place, you have clean-cut employees, you answer the phone with eager professionalism, and you gain trust with these customers, you turn around work quickly, done. Number one is done. You can charge a higher price. So number two, once you get the employees hired, right, you got a little bit more money, you're making more money because you're charging a higher price, you can pay your employees more, so you're getting a little bit higher quality candidates. Number two, you gotta simplify the job. You gotta simplify the job so that average employees, normal people, can do it really, really well. What do I mean by that? The training for most service businesses consists of this. The employee shows up to work, the owner of the company walks them around the office or walks them around the job, points at a couple things, talks them through some stuff, tells them how to do this, tells them how to do that, and then that's it. They're done. They're ready to go to work. You got to standardize it, and you got to take out anything that is complicated that requires questions. What do I mean? I'm going to give you an example. My partner and I, in our business, we hire 300 part-time employees every single year for $15 an hour to drive around box trucks in cities, picking up students' items, storing them in a warehouse, redelivering them. That's my business. It's called Storage Squad, if you want to check it out. At the beginning, we had our guys on the truck, our crew members. They were doing a little bit of everything. They were texting customers, they were getting directions, they were changing schedules, they were writing invoices, they were loading trucks. They'd get back to the warehouse, they would unload the trucks. They'd still be answering a little bit of customer service calls on their cell phones. So we had these employees that were out on these trucks. They were doing about 10 jobs, maybe 15 jobs. I actually vividly remember we had a tablet on the back of a tablet for them to run everything on, right? And on the back of that tablet, there was a checklist of 23 things that they needed to remember to do to service a customer. 23 things. So we were trying to teach them how to do a little bit of everything. They had to do a lot. Training was really, really hard. The employees were set up for failure. Our service didn't end up being that good. Our training was long, it was complicated. Kids didn't even pay attention. They didn't even really learn how to do it all. It was brutal. Things got so much easier when we simplified the job so that normal employees, I'm not talking about, we weren't hiring bums, but these were just perfectly average people could do really, really well. And what we did was we took customer service off their plate. We made one customer service rep handle all the customer service for the whole company or a team. We took billing off their plate. So instead of making the invoices and going through all the items, they just took a picture of the order. Okay, we took scheduling off their plate and we took all the scheduling to one person on one computer in one office. Then they could get really, really good at just that thing. So we simplified the job and an amazing thing happened. It got so much easier to have our employees do things really, really well. So in your business, simplify the job. Take things off their plate, standardize it, make it so that every action has a reaction. If this happens, do that. If that happens, do this. Okay, that's the second step, simplify the job. The third step is instill resourcefulness in your employees. And I'm not talking about all your employees. I'm not talking about your low-skilled laborers. I'm talking about your higher-paid crewmen, the people that are quoting your jobs, the people that are leading your crews, the people that you trust to get out there and do some stuff. You have to train resourcefulness. And just like I'm gonna train resourcefulness in my kids, you gotta train resourcefulness in your employees. And what does that mean? What does that mean? And it's all about the questions. Employees are gonna call you all the time with questions. How do I do this? How do I do that? They're gonna come at you all the time. Nick, this happened. The truck's got this going on. This customer has this problem. So when an employee calls you and asks you questions, you have a choice. You can do two things. Okay, that problem that they had, that question that they had could just become your problem. Dave Ramsey calls it Walking Into Your Office in EntreLeadership, one of my favorite books. Read that book if you haven't already. Dave Ramsey calls it Walking Into Your Office with a monkey on their back, and that monkey's their problem. They got a problem. They're gonna ask you a question. You got two options. That monkey could get off of their back and get on your desk and start jumping up and down on your desk, and it becomes your problem. And all of a sudden you have to answer for that monkey. You have to answer that question. It becomes your job. Or you can send that monkey with that employee back out and make them solve it. So I'm not talking about just sending your employees out and expecting them to have all the answers, not helping them, not giving them the tools. Okay, once you give them the tools, once they're set up for success, they ask you a question, follow it up with a question. Okay, it might take 5 minutes for you to solve it and just answer that question. And it might take an hour for you to train that employee to solve that problem or answer that question themselves. Take the extra time, train that employee to answer their own problem. So what you do is you follow it up with a question. I'm not just gonna answer it for you. I'm not just gonna help you. What would you do if you were me? These are the goals of the company. This is what we like to do as a company. Right, Timothy? This is what we like to do.
Mirror.
Yeah, it's mirror. This is what we like to do, and our goal of the company is this. What would you do if you were in my situation? And you're gonna start to learn how that employee thinks. Okay, you're gonna start to be able to instill your mind in that employee's mind. The employee is gonna start to realize how to solve these things. He's gonna recognize the patterns, and he's gonna become resourceful. The employee is then gonna be somebody that you can trust to be an extension of you. All right, another amazingly beautiful thing will happen when you do this. Okay, not only will people stop coming to you with problems, you're gonna learn about the recurring problems. You're gonna learn problems that you need to solve. You're gonna be able to update your training. Okay, you're gonna be able to do things when you're hiring somebody, systemize things so that those questions are answered before they even come. All the other employees automatically have the resources, they have the answers to that question. Another awesome thing will happen. You're gonna learn which employees are good. You're gonna learn which employees make good decisions. When you're talking to these employees, what would you do in this situation? You're gonna start to see how their brain works. Okay, and you're gonna start to learn which employees are smart and which employees have potential and which employees could be great assets for your business. And you're gonna learn which ones just are not good decision makers and you can't trust. It's a beautiful thing. So if you do those three things, charge more money, simplify the job, and instill a sense of resourcefulness in your employees, it's gonna be a beautiful thing. And you can scale your service business. You'll have so much better luck with your employees and you're gonna win. Right, Timothy? I'm gonna instill resourcefulness in you. I'm gonna instill resourcefulness in my son. When he comes to me and says, Dad, I need help with this, I'm gonna say, how are you gonna do it yourself? What would you do? How are you gonna think about this? I'm gonna just ask him a bunch of questions and start to get his brain working. All right? That's how you do it. Take my advice for what it's worth. Not a whole lot. I drive a Dodge Grand Caravan, but hope it helps. Thanks.